Welcome back to the show. It's time now for our corporate radar segment. Godrej Consumers is the stock that we're going to focus on. Adi Godrej, the chairman of the Godrej Group, and Mr. Vivek Gambhir, the managing director of Godrej Consumer Products, joins us now. Gentlemen, morning to both of you, and thank you for being with us. Mr. Godrej, first I wanted to ask you, welcome to the show. It's been a slightly slow quarter in terms of certain segments for you. So I wanted to just check with you first on the insecticides business. There's been a bit of a slowdown. What was the reason for that, and do you think that trend could continue for the next couple of quarters?
Well, the insecticide growth in this quarter was low, and that is because the monsoon start in July and August was pretty poor. And whenever there is a poor monsoon, mosquito infestation is low. And we've seen this in the past. Also, it came on a very strong monsoon last year when we had a 24% growth in the insecticide business in the same quarter. In September, the insecticide growth picked up. We feel that now the growth in the insecticide industry will pick up. But although we grew only 2% in the previous quarter, our growth was much higher than for the category as a whole. So our market shares have improved. And we think we'll pick up and the insecticide business will be back on track. The other very important fact in our insecticide business is that Godrej Goodnight Fast Card has done exceedingly well. It has gone to 100 crore turnover in less than a year. So this is a very, very important SKU for increased penetration and increased growth in this category for us in the future.
All right, let me get Vivek also into this conversation. Vivek, even the soaps category actually has contracted a bit. There is an overall softness in the numbers. Insecticides, it's more pronounced, but the overall India business has also grown by just 7%. Is this a question of the India story, or is it the question of greater competition?
Actually, if you look at our performance both in soap and in hair colors, I think we've seen some very good growth. So in soap, we had about a 13% growth, which is much better than the previous quarters. In hair colors, our growth was 9%. That entire growth was volume driven. I think what dragged the performance down, as Mr. Godrej was saying, was much more the performance in the insecticides business because of the deficient monsoon. And that is almost half of our business in India. If you look at again FMCG, I think what we are beginning to start seeing is some early signs of revival. So if you look at the industry data in home and personal care, in quarter one, the growth was about 3%. In quarter two, that growth rate has inched up to about 4.5%. So while it's nowhere close to the potential of the Indian FMCG market, what is encouraging now is that the environmental indicators seem to be trending in the right direction. And even within quarter two, what we found was that while July and August were very weak, September was actually quite good.
Okay, so what would your estimate or target be for the full year, Vivek?
You know, we don't want to give any specific guidance, but last year, our business grew at about 15% in India. Our hope would be to at least get to somewhere close to that number this year as well.
Mr. Godrej, just coming back to that point about the slowdown in the insecticides business, it's very unfortunate that the rise of dengue and malaria incidents, in the country, we've seen a big rise in the past, say, 1-2 months or so. I guess that will help companies like yours quite a bit. So can you give us any indication of what the pickup in growth could look like in terms of a quantum? Could it be 10%? Could it be 15%? And also, how much has your market share improved to?
We think we will grow very strongly in the household insecticide business during the second half, because last year in the second half the growth was relatively lower. And this year we expect a strong growth in the second half. Even as Vivek mentioned, in September the growth has been good. And as you rightly pointed out, the incidence of dengue and malaria have increased, and this will increase consumption of our products. So we expect second half growth to be much stronger than in the first half.
Okay. Well, Mr. Godrej, you know, our viewers who are usually your investors also now have an opportunity to ask you questions. We have something called a CEO call query email address where they post their questions. One, Mr. Vikas Khanna has written to us from Chandigarh, and he's asking you whether the company will look to expand into newer segments.
Sorry, I didn't catch that question.
Will you expand into newer segments? This gentleman wants to know. New products, new segment areas.
I don't think we'll expand into totally new segments. We are clearly expanding into newer products and adjacencies to our sector. But if you ask me suddenly, will we get into toothpaste or something like that? No, not likely. We will stick to the areas we are strong in. We will move to adjacencies. We have built a strong business, for example, in air fresheners, and such expansions into adjacent areas we will look at. Vivek, you want to add?
If I can add a little bit there, you know, over the last 2 or 3 months, we've launched 2 very interesting brands. One is a brand called Protect in the health and wellness space, and we have hand sanitizers, hand washers, mosquito sprays as part of that brand. And last month we launched a new brand called Be Blunt, which is a premium hair care and styling brand. It's a salon-inspired brand for consumers to prep, style and transform their hair at home. Later on this week, we will extend the Godrej #1 platform and launch a face wash in the country. This face wash will have a very unique packaging. It will be the first multi-use sachet at a price point of ₹10.
Okay, I'm sure this gentleman will be very happy with all those announcements. Thank you very much, Vivek and Mr. Godrej, for joining us with your thoughts. So, clearly demand expected to pick up. That's the word coming in from the Godrej management. But now we have yet another very important management joining us.
Yes, in fact, let's talk about the auto sales.